Alright guys, welcome to another video, and today I want to go over kind of how I've got my live scope set up and answer a few questions that I had. Primarily, this is for an Oldtown. I've got a Garmin LVS32 transducer, and it's hooked up to a Garmin 93SV screen. So I'm going to go over kind of how, just roughly how it's installed, and then answer a few questions. The first thing I want to go over is kind of what I needed to install it. First thing was the transducer pole. I got mine from Fishing Specialties. They've got different adapters. I went with the ram ball mount, and my problem on the water was I dropped the coupling, but I dropped it in the water, so it's down at the bottom of the lake in 30 foot of water, so that kind of ruined that. So I've already got a new one on the way. But first thing was the Fishing Specialties pole deucer. It comes with this bracket. This little clip kind of locks the pole deucer in, but what it doesn't come with is a way to mount it to the kayak. So what I used was this Yak Attack fish finder mount, and it comes with this base plate right here that I then screwed the Fishing Specialties mount right here to. I also had to buy another gear track to mount it, so that way it wasn't in the way of my depth finder screen, and it was a little bit closer to me, a little bit easier to access. I also had to buy a through-hole wiring. This one's from Hobie, so I knew I needed 3 wires to come to the kayak. And then I also used Velcro to keep the black box in here. This is where I mounted the black box. I don't know how well it shows up. It's in here, and I used 2 pieces of 4x6 Velcro to stick it to the kayak, just so it doesn't get knocked around. It's not there to hold it. If I want to pick it up, I can still take it off, pick it up. So that's pretty much all I needed to install it. The list of things you need is awfully short. That's all I can remember needing. I think I needed a 2-inch step drill to drill the hole for the through wire mount. But for the most part, I think that's it. Now, when it comes to the black box, there are 3 wires that I ran through the black box. The first one on the right is your power, right, with the red. This one is the one on the far left. This bigger one is the actual transducer, and this middle one is going to be your Ethernet. This power cord gets ran to the battery. This Ethernet cord gets ran up to the head unit of the depth finder, and the transducer cord just runs to the transducer. So I'll start with the transducer cord. I literally just run it up through this hatch, and then I've got this grommet, or I guess this plug that I drilled a hole in so it would fit through the wire to make it waterproof. It came in a pack of 2, so I've got a second one, so whenever I take the whole transducer off, I can plug that hole back up. So that way I'm able to take the whole transducer off whenever I want. So it all just comes off with this mount. So whenever I'm driving down the road, I don't have to worry about the transducer getting bumped and broken or anything. The next one was that Ethernet cord in the middle. So it gets ran up through, I ran it up through the front, ran all the way through the kayak. It comes up through this through hole, and then gets ran up to here on the head unit. And then the power cord on the red one on the far right runs all the way through the hole of the kayak and attaches to this battery. So that's your 3 wires for the black box. Your 3 wires for the head unit is you have a second power cord for the head unit. The orange is your transducer, and that's the Ethernet cord that we've already gone over. The transducer I've mounted on the bottom of the kayak. Up under, there's another mount for the original transducer. The power cord I ran back through the through hole. So you got 3 wires in total that run through the through hole. You got a power cord, transducer, and Ethernet. And the way I kind of solved my problem with power, having 2 power cords, was with these kind of just hitchhiking battery terminals. So that way I can have them both plugged into one battery and not worry about it. That brings us to another question I had, was how big of a battery do I need to run live scope? This is a 30 amp hour lithium battery. If I run live scope all day without switching between live scope and my other settings, or like back to traditional sonar, I'll get 7 to 8.5 hours on one 30 amp hour battery. For tournament fishing, I went ahead and bought a second battery just to be on the safe side so I didn't run out of power while fishing a tournament. That brings me to another question I had whenever I was first getting a live scope, and that was, can I run live scope and traditional sonar mapping and stuff at the same time on the same unit? And the short answer is yes, but you can't really do it at the same time. It's going to be one or the other. The 93 SV has shortcuts built into it, so it's a touchscreen, so there's long ways and short ways to get stuff, but the easiest way I found was to set a traditional, like your layout to one shortcut key, and then live scope to another shortcut key. So if I want to shortcut straight to live scope, my shortcut key is 1. If my graph will turn on, so my shortcut key for live scope is 1. That'll bring me to live scope, and then I've got shortcut 2 for just my normal layout, and then you still got 2 more shortcut keys you can use for any individual whatever you want. So everything comes off pretty easily, and I can take transducer off. You can run both live scope and traditional sonar at the same time. Installation was super easy. You don't have to put any kind of cutoff switch or anything like that. You don't have to add an extra fuse. And when watching other videos, I've seen people do it, and talking to other friends and people who have had it installed, you don't need it. It's recommended. All of it's covered by warranty, and if for some reason it shorts, something goes wrong, it's all covered by warranty, so you don't have to. And for simplicity, I didn't do it. So there you go. Those are a few questions I had that I hope might answer some of your questions. If you have any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments. And there you go. I hope y'all have a good one.